You wake up at the same time every day, same routine, same tasks. But when the day's over and you look back, it feels like you got nothing done. Your to-do list keeps growing, projects stack up, goals keep getting pushed back, and when you finally hit the bed, you're tired, drained, and feeling kind of helpless. Sound familiar? You're basically a warrior who charges into battle every morning and comes back beaten every night. You've got the weapons, the strength, the drive, but something's off. You're missing a strategy. That's exactly what I'm going to break down for you in this video. Time management secrets from a samurai who lived 400 years ago, Miyamoto Musashi, and how you can actually use this stuff in your everyday life. Musashi fought 63 duels and never lost one. But it wasn't just his sword skills that made him legendary. It was the way he thought about time, energy, and focus. And today, I'm going to show you that approach. I'm going to take thousands of years of Japanese wisdom and make it work for your daily life. Ready? Let's get into it. Chapter 1. Managing yourself, not time. Here's the truth. You can't manage time. Time just keeps moving. You can't rewind it, save it up, or borrow some from tomorrow. We all get the same 24 hours. Bill Gates gets 24 hours. The homeless guy on the corner gets 24 hours. You get 24 hours. So why do some people accomplish incredible things in those same 24 hours while you end the day feeling like you did nothing? Because they're not managing time, they're managing themselves. Musashi figured this out 400 years ago. In the Book of Five Rings, he wrote, "My path is clear for those who wish to learn strategy. Do not stray from honest thought. True learning is constant practice." What's he getting at here? He's saying the problem isn't working faster, it's working smarter. It's not about doing more stuff. It's about doing the right stuff. And this brings us to the first big lesson from Japanese philosophy, Kaizen. Kaizen basically means continuous improvement in Japanese. It's about getting a tiny bit better every single day. Not huge leaps, just small, steady progress. Here's what most people do. Starting Monday, I'm changing my whole life. I'm going to work 5 hours a day, hit the gym, read books. Then 3 days later, they quit. Kaizen says something different. Just read for 5 minutes today. Tomorrow, make it 6. The day after, 7. Small steps you can actually stick with. That's how Musashi mastered his craft. A little more practice every day, a lesson from every fight, wisdom from every setback, and you're going to do the same thing. Chapter 2. Samurai Mornings. Musashi was up before sunrise every morning, but waking up early wasn't the point. It was what he did with those hours. The Japanese have a phrase for this, Ichigo Ichi. It means, this moment is unique and will never happen again. It's a mindset that reminds you every moment is one of a kind. Once it's gone forever. Those early morning hours, they're gold. Your mind is fresh, your willpower is strong, your focus is sharp. And what do most people do with that time? Check their phones, scroll social media, go through emails. That's like a samurai using his best sword to pick up the garbage. Musashi had this principle. Knowing the timing of the ground is especially important. Otherwise, your strategy becomes uncertain. What's timing about? Doing the right thing at the right moment. Use the first 2 hours of your morning for your hardest, most important, most focus-heavy work. The Japanese call this hara hachibu, the 80% rule. Don't burn through all your energy at once, but put your best energy into what matters most. So what does this look like in practice? When you wake up, don't touch your phone for the first hour. Instead, dive into your most important project. Emails can wait, messages can wait, but your most productive hours, those can't wait. Chapter 3. The 5-Element Principle. Musashi's Book of Five Rings is built around 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and void. Each one represents a different approach to managing your time. Earth is your foundation. Your daily routines, habits, rituals that don't change. Musashi puts it this way, like a straight path drawn on the earth. Without solid ground, nothing else works. What's your earth element? Waking up at the same time every day. Starting your most important work at the same time. Ending each day with the same wind-down routine. Water is about being flexible. Water fits whatever container it's in. Musashi says, water takes the shape of the container it is placed in. Sometimes a drop, sometimes an ocean. Plans will change. Stuff will come up. Meetings run long. Urgent things pop up. You've got to flow like water. Build systems that can adapt instead of rigid plans that break. Fire is intensity. Fire burns, transforms, purifies. When you're working, you're all in. Total focus on one thing, one moment. Wind is awareness. Wind moves everywhere, touches everything. You need to stay aware of what's around you, your environment, your competition, your opportunities. Don't just bury yourself in your work. Keep your eyes on the bigger picture. Void is intuition. This is Musashi's deepest teaching. When there are no clouds left in your spirit, that is true void. When your mind is clear, you make your best decisions. How do you use these 5 elements day to day? Morning, earth. Stick to your routines. Before noon, fire. Intense, focused work. Afternoon, water. Flexible, go with the flow tasks. Evening, wind. Review and reflect. Night, void. Rest, meditate. Get ready for tomorrow. Chapter 4. The 80-20 Rule. You've probably heard of the Pareto Principle. An Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto came up with it back in 1897. 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. But are you actually using this in your daily life? Musashi won 63 duels. Did he use some different fancy technique for each one? Nope. He kept applying the same core principles, the same basic skills, the same fundamental strategies over and over. He focused on that 20%, and that 20% delivered 80% of the results. The Book of Five Rings says, by learning one thing, you understand 1,000 things. Go deep before you go wide. Being great at a few things beats being mediocre at a lot of things. How's your day looking? Probably 80% of it is filled with low-value stuff. Pointless emails, meetings that go nowhere, phone calls that don't matter, scrolling through feeds, random interruptions, other people's emergencies, and your important work, the projects that actually move the needle, the stuff that could change your career, always getting pushed to tomorrow, always at the bottom of the list. The Japanese call this muda, waste. It's the biggest enemy of the Kaizen philosophy. There are 7 types of muda: overproduction, waiting, transportation, unnecessary processing, inventory, motion, and defects. They came up with these for factories, but they fit your life perfectly. Time waste, hours stuck in useless meetings. Energy waste, mental energy burned on tiny decisions. Focus waste, the deep work you lose after every interruption. Attention waste, hours disappearing into social media. Here's an exercise for you. Grab a piece of paper and write down everything you're going to do today and tomorrow. Everything, big or small. Then ask yourself about each one. Does this actually produce results? Does it get me closer to my goals? What would happen if I just didn't do it? Chances are only 2 or 3 things on that list are creating real value. The other 7 or 8? Someone else can do them. They can wait, or you can just cut them entirely. Focus on those 2 or 3 things. Do them during your peak hours. Delegate, automate, or straight up delete the rest. Musashi says, do nothing that is not beneficial. Simple as that. And hard as hell, because saying no is tough. Cutting things out is tough. Letting go is tough. But that's what mastery costs. Chapter 5. The Secrets of Dokodo. A week before he died, Musashi wrote Dokodo, The Way of Walking Alone. 21 rules, 21 principles, 21 life lessons. On his deathbed, he handed this down to his favorite student, Terao Magunojo, as his final gift. These rules were wisdom squeezed from Zen Buddhism, samurai discipline, and 60 years of living. 5 of them connect directly to managing your time. First rule, accept everything as it is. You can't control time. You can't stop every interruption. You can't prevent the unexpected. Accept it, then adapt. Fighting reality wastes energy. Accepting reality is how you start changing it. 5th rule, stay away from desires throughout your life. Everything that pulls your attention away is a desire. The urge to check your phone, the itch to scroll social media, the craving for instant gratification, the temptation to sink into a comfy chair. Notice these desires, acknowledge them, but don't give in. A samurai recognizes desire, but knows how to keep it in check. 9th rule, do not do what is not beneficial. I already mentioned this. Question every single thing you do. Does this get me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, don't do it. Sounds easy, right? But how many people actually live this way? How much useless stuff did you do today? How many minutes did you throw away on things that didn't matter? 6th rule, Do not regret what you have done. Wasted time? Don't beat yourself up, learn from it. Made a mistake? Don't dwell on it, fix it. Regret is wasted energy, and energy fuels everything you do with time. Living in the past robs the future. 14th rule, don't hold on to things you no longer need. This isn't just about stuff you own. It's thoughts, habits, relationships, projects, half-finished business. Keep what moves you forward. Drop the rest. Traveling light gets you further. Chapter 6. Henry's Transformation. Let me tell you a real story. Henry was an analyst at a big finance company in California. He worked 14-hour days. He was in the office on weekends. In by 7, out by 11 at night. But he couldn't seem to move up. One day, his manager called him in. Henry figured this was it. Promotion time. All those years of grinding were finally going to pay off. But the manager said, "Henry, you work hard, but you don't work smart. That's why Oliver's getting the promotion, not you." Oliver. The guy who started 2 years after Henry. The guy who left at 6 every day. The guy who never worked weekends. And now he was getting promoted. Henry was baffled. How was this possible? He'd given everything to that office. He'd sacrificed his family, his health, his life. And this lazy guy was passing him? That night, Henry wandered into a bookstore on his way home. He spotted The Book of 5 Rings on a shelf. He'd heard of Musashi, but never actually read him. He bought the book. And that night, something clicked. Out of his 14-hour days, maybe 2 or 3 hours were spent on actual valuable analysis work. The rest? Emails, meetings, reports, waiting around, chit-chat. Oliver? He zeroed in on those 2 or 3 crucial hours of work. Then he went home. Henry changed his approach. He started using Musashi's principles. He blocked off the first 3 hours of his morning for nothing but analysis. Closed the door, phone off, email off, just focused. Afternoons were for meetings, emails, admin stuff. He was home by 6. 3 months later, he was producing more in less time. His reports got better. His manager noticed. 6 months later, he got promoted. What changed? Was Henry suddenly smarter? No. More hardworking? He was already killing himself with work. The only thing that changed was his strategy. Chapter 7. The Attention Warrior. The biggest problem today isn't time. It's attention. Think about it. What distracted our ancestors? A lion's roar, a raid from another tribe, the threat of starvation, things that happen maybe a few times a year, matters of survival. What distracts you? A notification every 11 minutes, social media algorithms, clickbait headlines, message pings, email alerts, and this happens hundreds of times a day. The average person spends 4 hours a day on their phone. 4 hours. That's 28 hours a week, 112 hours a month, 1,300 hours a year, 54 full days. You're spending almost 2 months every year staring at your phone. And here's the kicker. After every distraction, it takes about 23 minutes to get fully focused again. So you glance at your phone, reply to a text, get back to work. But real focus doesn't return for 23 minutes. Do the math. How many hours are you bleeding every day? In Musashi's time, there were no distractions, no phones, no social media, no notifications. When a samurai was getting ready for a duel, he thought about one thing: the duel. There was nothing else. But today, you have to be an attention warrior, because the enemy is everywhere, and billion-dollar companies are designed specifically to hijack your attention. The Japanese call this zanshin. It means remaining mind, or continuing awareness. A mind that stays locked in even after you finish something. Samurai stayed alert even after a duel ended, because real danger shows up when you let your guard down. They knew an opponent could strike with their dying breath. Be like that. When you start something, keep your focus until it's done. Even when your phone buzzes, an email lands, or someone knocks. That buzz isn't urgent. That email can wait. That person can come back in 5 minutes. Here's a practical tip. Use focus blocks, samurai style. Instead of 25-minute Pomodoro sessions, go for 90-minute blocks. Why? Because real deep work, that flow state everyone talks about, doesn't kick in until around 45 minutes. Stop at 25 minutes and you never get there. Take a 15-minute break after each block, get up, walk around, look out a window, drink some water, breathe. But don't look at your phone. That break is prep time for your next block. 3 or 4 blocks a day is plenty. More than that, and your productivity actually drops. 4 90-minute blocks equals 6 hours. 6 hours of real, deep, focused work. You can get done in a day what most people can't finish in a week. Fewer hours, more focus, better results. Chapter 8: Ikigai and the Meaning of Time. Ikigai is one of the most powerful ideas in Japanese philosophy. It roughly translates to your reason for being, or why you get out of bed in the morning. It's supposedly the shared secret of people who live past 100 in Okinawa. Ikigai sits at the intersection of 4 questions. What do you love? What gets you fired up? What are you good at? Where do your natural talents lie? What does the world need? How can you make a difference? What can you get paid for? How do you earn a living? Where those 4 circles overlap, that's your Ikigai. Your life's purpose. Your reason for being here. So what does this have to do with time management? Everything. When you spend your time on work that fits your Ikigai, time management practically handles itself. Work you love gives you energy instead of draining you. Work you're good at comes naturally. Work that feels meaningful keeps you motivated. No procrastination necessary. But when you fill your time with stuff that has nothing to do with your Ikigai, every day is a grind. Every hour feels like torture. Every minute is a loss. And no productivity hack in the world is going to save you. Musashi found his Ikigai young, the way of the sword, strategy, the pursuit of mastery. When he fought his first duel at 13, he knew what his life was about. And he never wavered from that path until the day he died. Have you found yours? If you haven't, time management techniques are just band-aids. Real change, real productivity, real fulfillment only come when you discover your purpose. Maybe your time management problems exist because you're spending time on the wrong things. Maybe you procrastinate because the work genuinely doesn't matter to you. Maybe you're exhausted because you're living a life that's miles away from your Ikigai. Chapter 9: The Samurai System. Now let me give you something concrete, the 5-step samurai system. A practical framework that pulls together Musashi's teachings, the Kaizen mindset, and modern productivity research. Here's the 5-step samurai system. Step 1: Evening prep. Every night, write down the 3 most important things you need to do tomorrow. Just 3. Step 2: Morning ritual. Wake up at the same time every day. Don't look at your phone for the first hour. Start with your most important task. Step 3: Focus blocks. Break your day into 90-minute chunks. 1 task per chunk. 15-minute break in between, 3 or 4 blocks a day. Step 4: Evening review. Every night, take 5 minutes. What went well today? What didn't? What will I do differently tomorrow? Step 5: Weekly review. Every weekend, set aside half an hour. Look back at your week. Stick with this system for 6 weeks. Chapter 10: Winning the War. At 61, with death approaching, Musashi retreated to a cave called Reigando in the mountains of Kyushu. There, just weeks before he passed, he wrote the Book of 5 Rings and Dokodo. He poured everything he knew, all his wisdom, experience, and secrets, onto paper. A man who survived 63 duels, an undefeated warrior. And one of the last things he wrote was this: Today's victory is over yesterday's self. What does that mean? It means the real fight isn't out there somewhere. The real enemy isn't other people. The real win isn't the promotion, the paycheck, the follower count, or the bank balance. The real fight is with yourself. With who you were yesterday. With the lazy version of you. The undisciplined version. The unfocused version. The version that puts things off. the version that makes excuses. Win that fight every day, and you win everything. And that's the heart of this video. Time management isn't a technique. It's a way of living, a philosophy, a warrior's discipline. What Musashi taught worked 400 years ago, works today, and will work 400 years from now. Because human nature doesn't change. Attention drifts. Focus slips. Laziness calls. The comfort zone pulls you in. But now you know your weapons. Now it's on you. 8 out of 10 people who watch this video won't do anything. They'll think that was good, that was inspiring, hit like, maybe save it. Then go right back to their lives. Same patterns, same problems, same complaints. 3 years from now, they'll be in the exact same spot. Still feeling like there's not enough time. Still putting off their goals. Still saying, I wish. Don't be one of those 8. Be one of the 2. The ones who take action, who try, who get back up when they fall. Here's your assignment. Tonight, write down the 3 most important things you need to do tomorrow. Just 3. On paper, in a note, on your phone, doesn't matter. And tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, start one of them. Then come to the comments and tell me what those 3 things are. 1 comment, that's your commitment, your promise to yourself. And I'm going to read every single one. Musashi said, knowing the path and walking the path are 2 different things. Now you know the path. Time to walk it. If this video brought you value, hit that like button. Help the algorithm spread this to more people. If you think others should see it, share it, and subscribe. I put out content like this regularly. Catch you in the next one. And remember, the battle is won before the day even starts. Now go take control of your time.